It is that time of the year. Pull out the vision boards that you made earlier this year for 2025, or get wherever you wrote your goals, in your notes app or on paper in your journal, or wherever you put what you desire to accomplish in the year of 2025. Pull that out, look at it, analyze it, and ask yourself, how close did you get to these goals? It is currently winter arc season, and you're going to be hearing a lot of rush kind of terminology, like this amount of weeks left in the year. This is what you're going to do to completely go up by the end of the year. This is how you can get the results in 10 weeks, 12 weeks of what's left of the new year and what's left of 2025, of this year. I mean, still that time limit in you where you just want to get up and start to do stuff, and motivation is amazing, but there is a way that you may go about it that might sabotage you, and I don't want you to do your winter arc like this. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to go about your winter arc so you can actually get results, and so you don't end up kind of self-sabotaging and doing exactly what you did maybe in the beginning of the year where you wrote down goals and then the end of the year came and you didn't really kind of accomplish any of them or most of them. With this time of the year, there is so much rush feeling where you want to gather all of the goals that you didn't accomplish and accomplish them in a span of like 2 months. In 2 months where we have like holidays and things already breaking up your routine, breaking up your diet with like, you know, holiday dinners and all that kind of stuff. And you are going to be faced with so many videos about vision boarding, about how to set goals. But if you watch videos like that every single year and you still don't see any change, and you just make another vision board or you just write new goals, you are going to keep repeating the same year over and over and over again, where you kind of feel kind of a bit of disappointment. And I want you to feel accomplished, and I want you to feel proud of yourself. So this is how you're going to get that done, because earlier in January, everybody has the same exact feeling that they have right now with the whole winter arc thing and with the whole end of the year, just 2 months left, just 1 month left, how you can finish off the year strong kind of things. But it's the same thing happened in January last year. Everybody gets, you know, that rush of motivation, and then they kind of just disperse into their old habits and routines. And that's because of a lack of identity work, which I have an entire video on identity work that I will put in my description. Problem was never your goals. The problem isn't that your goals are too high, or that you made too many goals, or that you weren't thinking realistically enough. The problem is in the identity work. A lot of people desire to say win the lottery and immediately have $1 million. And what do we all know that happens to lottery winners? A huge amount of the time they blow through all of their earnings because they just want immediateness, and immediateness it does not make them a millionaire. It does not make them a billionaire. They win all this money and they were never the person who embodied the identity of a millionaire that knows how to start businesses, that knows how to, you know, make smart financial decisions. And so they lose everything and they slip right back into their old identity. And that is exactly what happens at this time of the year. That rush of motivation and wanting things instantly comes. People start committing finally to going to the gym, to trying the Pilates classes, to actually drinking the water or taking, you know, their vitamins or whatever it is. And then that's not their identity. That's not them to the core. And so they kind of just slip back into not doing it. You cannot manifest a new reality from the same consciousness that has created the one that you have now. You want to instead prepare for it. You are going to use this season to prepare to embody your higher self in 2026. You are going to start to get to the root causes of all why you didn't finish it in the first place, so that now you can start with a fresh mind that is the type of mind that will get you what you want. Instead of changing the goals and the things in the physical, you're going to change the mind, which then changes your physical reality. So the first thing that you are going to do should come as no surprise, but you are going to audit your year. You're going to audit this year, 2025. What happened? What happened in January? What did you do every morning? Were you closer to your goals? Were you in alignment with what you wanted to do? How are you operating? What is the same thing that you kept telling yourself over and over and over again that maybe delayed the start to something? Then what is the song that you kept playing over and over and over again that ignited kind of like a similar feeling that is maybe not a good feeling? Maybe it's like a breakup song that you kept listening to that just replayed the same emotions, that makes you then do the same actions, that makes you continue to have and embody the same results in your life. What is that thing that kept reoccurring for you no matter what every single month? What is the story you keep telling yourself when it comes to maybe, for example, your diet? What is the thing you kept telling yourself about food? Like for me, I used to have a really big sweet tooth, and so I would always say, oh, like just a handful of M&Ms won't work. A sweet treat after, I would eat is like part of my personality until I realized I never used to see results from how hard I used to train in the gym. And I was like, okay, maybe I do eat too much sugar. Maybe I do tell myself 1 to 50 too many times that I'm allowed, to have foods that are not good for me, that aren't in alignment with like my meal plan, just to temporarily satisfy like cravings and things like that. When did you tell yourself you would maybe start something tomorrow? Why? What was the reasons why? What lessons do you feel like this year specifically was trying to teach you? And if you do full moon and new moon rituals, look back on every new and full moon. What were your intentions that you were setting? What themes kept reoccurring for you? Go ahead and audit that, analyze that, and from there you will see exactly how you got to being where you are. This is the part that can be very uncomfy. This is also my journal, aka my second brain, where I write down all of my uncomfy thoughts. I literally confront myself with my journal, with my writing, like, why haven't I accomplished the thing that I said I was going to accomplish? What happened here? What was the excuse? Once you get it out of here and on paper, there's no more running away from it. And so this is why you might avoid that a lot, because your subconscious knows that if you start to actually try to get to the bottom of it, that you might change, and it does not perceive change as safe. It's like unknown. So get your journal, get something, a physical pencil or pen to write with, and start auditing your life. That is one thing that you're going to do for sure in 2026. Of course, that brings me to the next thing that you are going to do after your reflection, after kind of just going over in the physical, the things you were saying, the things that you were doing that kept keeping you in the same familiar loop. Then you are going to do shadow work. So you are going to get out that journal and you are going to do shadow work. And this is where you're going to meet your shadow saboteur. Your shadow saboteur is a part of you that rubs your hands together and smiles every time you partake in self-sabotaging behavior. Every time you're doom scrolling and you know that you said you wanted to like start a course, to learn something new, to get a new job, or you wanted to go to the gym and like an hour has passed and you could have went to the gym in that hour but you spent it scrolling on your phone. Or every time you're eating something that you know is not healthy for you, that's going to sabotage, your entire workout that you did, and you feel like a part of you is like, I'm not enjoying this because like this isn't good, but physically in the moment it feels good. That is your shadow saboteur there. She's sabotaging you to protect you because she wants to keep you the same and familiar. So you are going to do shadow work to get to why you kept listening to that one song that ignited those same emotions over and over again. What part of you has not healed from whatever it is? You are going to meet the part of you that is self-sabotaging all the time. You kept saying, oh, I know I didn't get the goal because I kept pushing it off to Monday or the start of the next month, or when it's a sunny day, because who wants to start something on a rainy day? That's what you were saying, but why were you saying that to yourself? Once you start to get to the root causes of those problems, you are going to be able to do the thing you want to do with so much less resistance. Okay, you won't feel like you're dragging yourself to get out of bed early in the morning, to make your breakfast, to not be in a rush to go to work, to do the thing, because that's now part of your identity. You're a morning person who loves to cook breakfast. So we are going to do our shadow work this winter arc season. You are going to stop goal setting and new goals over new goals and goal tracking and trying to find out new methods to work out. You're going to get to the reason of why it was such a problem in the first place. Going to start redefining your new identity. So all of those traits and things belong to an identity, which is the way that you perceive yourself. If you perceive yourself as like a morning person, then naturally when your alarm rings early in the morning, you're going to get up because your body's like, yeah, we're like a morning person, like that's how we identify. So like, why would we sleep in? Like, that's not us. If you are a gym girly, going to the gym seems like an easy thing for you. If you identify as kind of like lazy or self-indulgent or kind of like shy, timid, all of those resistant things, it's going to be so hard for you to do the opposite of that, even if the opposite is what you want to be, because that's not how you identify. For example, if you had on your vision board a vacation destination that you wanted to go to, right? You got a picture, one of those aesthetic pictures of like a plane window on your vision board because you want to travel and you didn't really travel much, or you didn't go to where you wanted to go. What identity would you have to start embodying to be the person that travels and goes there? You would have to start considering yourself adventurous. And then your mind would look for that in proof in the external. Then you start thinking, well, if I'm labeling myself as adventurous, then I should be looking at trips to book because like I'm adventurous. Like that's how I like self-identify. Somebody that is a person that travels would have to consider themselves organized. An organized person knows how to get an itinerary together. An organized person knows how to look for flights. An organized person knows, you know, how long it takes for a passport to come in, how to book a, you know, a passport appointment and things like that. An organized person would know how to do that. Start claiming the identity as organized. If you don't consider yourself that now, you can throw as many pictures you want on an aesthetic, beautiful board as many times as you want, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get that result. The point of a vision board is to visually see it, so your mind is constantly reminded of it so that you can continue to work towards it, and so that it is more embedded in your subconscious mind. But if you don't take aligned action with the things that are on your vision board, like starting to claim the identity of a person that's well-traveled, loves to travel, loves to go on planes, loves, you know, making funny videos and TikToks at the airport, then you are going to be less likely to get the things that are on your vision board. Embodying that new identity is what is going to bridge that gap from what you want and what you are. The next thing that you're going to do as part of your end of the year winter arc / preparation for the new year and embodying your higher self for 2026 is going to be creating space for her. Declutter your environment, both your physical, both your mental environment and your digital environment, okay? Your phones, your laptops, clear out that energy. Everything has energy, and when you just have a bunch of things that reaffirm the identity that you have now that you don't want to have, you're constantly going to be performing within that same identity. To get rid of pieces of clothing that no longer align with your identity now. If you want to be a minimalist and you live in a maximalist type of place and if you have a minimal, beautiful apartment on your vision board, you would have to start decluttering. You would have to start calling yourself a minimalist, and then you would see your own circumstances and be like, well, my apartment is like very like cluttered and I have like 1,000 decorations and I don't really like all of these little tchotchkes laying around. Let me start to declutter. Declutter your space and make space for whatever it is, whatever aesthetic vibe that you're going for, and start to implement that into your life. You don't need to, if fitness, for example, because it's a lot of goal that a lot of people have, is a desire for you in the upcoming year or something that you wanted this year, you don't have to like spend 4 hours in the gym now and work your body to death to prove to yourself that you are that. You can show up in small, aligned ways. This is where I love the book like Atomic Habits. It breaks that down amazingly. I'll leave that book tagged in the description. Slow and steady really does win the race. So taking smaller aligned actions versus an overhaul, trying to completely change your entire life overnight, is going to get you where you want to be faster than overnight transformation, than cramming everything in a couple weeks. Now you can start taking more actionable steps. It's going to be a gentle integration period where now you're starting to buy a piece of clothing from the aesthetic that you would like to have. You could start meditating for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, instead of trying to commit and sit for an hour-long meditation, because that's the person that meditates every single day. They meditate for an hour. You want to start in small aligned actions and prove to yourself that you can show up at least small first, and then build that trust with yourself that you can do 5 minutes every single day. Then I can do 10, now I can do 20, and then you can go for however long you want. Another thing that you're going to do so that you don't burn yourself out and self-sabotage this winter arc is be aware of everything astrologically happening right now and take advantage of the energy that is already going to be so potent. I will leave maybe a calendar or something up here that's going to explain when the last new moons, full moons, retrogrades are for this year. Although I do a lot of new and full moon rituals, and I'm very intentional about using that energy. I don't really make videos that much about it, so I will start to do that for you so that you can also utilize and be aware of the energy that's going on. That is something that I am going to begin to implement starting the year 2026. So the world is slowing down collectively. It is at end of the year. It feels like crunch time, but it doesn't have to be an overhaul rush time. You are going to be so much more prepared for your 2026, going about it like this. Don't let your head start be like an overhaul rush. You can take your absolute time to get to all your root causes as to why you might be stuck in certain loops and self-sabotage and all of those behaviors, so that you are absolutely prepared to take on and embody your higher self come the new year. The winter arc isn't about accomplishing goals overnight in a very just strictly masculine energy way of doing everything that you possibly can in the physical, but it's an amazing time to go inward, to be more intuitive with your actions, to go inward with your actions, to start thinking about why you do things the way that you do them, to take aligned action, and to become the person that doesn't fall off their goals come February, after January ends. And so that is all I have for this video. You are going to become your higher self this upcoming year, and you are going to prepare for her by doing all of this inner work the end of the year. That is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.